guys, value versus manipulation in sales. What does it look like? How to avoid it, whether you're in the sales industry or whether you're having to interact with real estate or sales professionals. That's what we're going to be jumping into today.
Awesome. Hey guys, welcome to The Buzz, Coffee Real Estate.
Yep.
Today, we're going to be talking about?
Yeah, so there's this huge aspect of sales, whether it's real estate or otherwise, that's a manipulation versus value. And
Totally.
The more that I'm reading, I'm actually starting to see there's more out there now about giving value to clients than there used to be.
Totally.
But it's still kind of this foreign concept. And so I just wanted to talk through with you the temptations in a commission-based industry, but also how are people doing it well, how are people doing it poorly, because the temptation, we're trying to pay the bills, right?
That's right.
And so we pay the bills by closing homes. We close homes by having clients who can buy and do buy.
Yeah.
And so in some ways, even the incentive structure of the real estate industry has this, can have a manipulative factor to it, right?
Sure.
Like, hey, we want a client to close on a home. Now, they also want to close on that home, but if we're trying to push them that way, or, hey, you don't want to miss out on this, or...
That's a good point.
It's very easy to kind of get into that. And all the while, we can be very distracted from actually truly serving our clients, providing a high value experience for them, because we're worried about, we want to make sure we get the commission.
Oh, totally. I got an example of that. Interesting enough, we've got a listing that's going on right now. It's been a 2-year endeavor, right, of getting from actually getting it as a listing.
Since you spoke with the people, prepping their house, doing everything that had to be done.
All that stuff. But the thing that was crazy is when we initially had a conversation, there was some stuff that they were trying to work through in the credit or whatever, and trying to get to a place where they could do it. And, of course, they're asking me the question, like, well, do you think we could do this? And, of course, I'm sitting in the back of my mind going, I want this listing, I want this listing, I want this. But it was so clear, the Lord's like, Josh, if you manipulate now and you try to take them before they're ready, you're just going to be a catastrophic event. And your name's going to be run through the mud, number one. But two, it's just going to be this thing where now they're in this detrimental situation.
Yeah, you're going to hurt them.
Yep.
You're not going to have a true peace about how you handle your business.
Right. That's exactly right.
And that long game a lot of times is better.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a huge temptation in the real estate industry, even among people who have high integrity, to just have this kind of undercurrent of, you need to get your house listed sooner rather than later. You need to get qualified and buy a house sooner rather than later. Even this whole, like, it's always a good time to buy and sell, like, no, not necessarily.
That's right.
And so I'm seeing that, and there's a lot of when you check in with a client. Let's say you had somebody that closed 2 months or 2 years or whatever, and okay, I want to say hello to them. I want to check in with them. Is there a desire to maintain a relationship? Or is there a desire to, like, how can I structure this conversation when I call John and Mary to, like, make sure that I'm asking them for referrals, or something? Nobody wants to answer that phone call.
Well, it's the same thing. You get that phone call and it's like, hey, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. My family's doing good. Yours is too. Hey, by the way, do you mind sending me a referral or two? Do you know anybody that wants to buy or sell? I hate that conversation. I've never had that conversation. It's scripts and stuff, but I think that's a huge point. I think when it becomes selfishly motivated, right? Selfish ambition, and every evil thing, right, that falls into it. That element I think is huge, because if a lot of people use the word commission breath. Right, that's kind of a term that we hear.
It stinks.
It stinks. You're like, I feel like you're pushing me. Like, why are we pushing? And so I think that's huge. I think when we start, when my family and my needs and my wants become before the client, then now I have enticed them into something because I'm in need.
And let's face it, we are in a place where they are trusting us a lot.
And
we know a lot of their confidential information. We know a lot of their motivational information.
Yep.
We know a lot about their families. We get to see them in some of their worst moments. I mean, it's really stressful selling or buying a house.
Oh, totally.
I mean, it's one of the hardest things on a marriage.
Yeah.
And so we get to see them in pretty vulnerable positions, and they listen to us.
Yeah.
And they trust us, and we're having to put in all of these hours. And so for us to throw one little comment in to try to push something faster than it should be pushed, it's just manipulation.
Right.
Let's call it what it is. And it's that commission breath. It's that, and that's what puts people off.
Oh, it's totally what puts people off.
And they might not even be able to understand it or know where it came from, but it's, are you building upon the foundation of give and it shall be given to you.
Yeah.
Pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing.
Yeah.
And if that's a verse that we're actually going to believe,
yeah.
then it means that rather than manipulation, we can move into this value.
Oh, totally.
So, for instance, I would call somebody instead of trying to ask for a referral, and I would say, hey, John and Mary, I work with good contractors, poor quality contractors. I get to see a lot in the industry. Yeah. Do you guys have any projects coming up in the next 3 months where you need a recommendation for putting a new deck on your house or pressure washing or landscaping or not because you're trying to sell the house, maybe you just like that, or maybe you are, I don't know, but how can I provide value? How can I connect you with somebody that's really good at what they do, that's going to do what they say they're going to do on time?
Yeah.
And because we get to see a lot of that,
yeah.
That's a great conversation to have. Wow, who wouldn't want to pick up the phone? Great, you're going to help me solve one of my problems.
Yeah.
Josh is calling me. He's probably got some important information, not about how he can make money off of me, but how I can solve one of my problems. So just shifting that, but you can't truly come from value if you're afraid.
That's exactly
or greedy.
Right.
And so if, a lot of times my bills are tight. Oh my gosh, I really need John and Mary to sell their house now. I know they didn't, they said they weren't going to sell it till next spring. Truly, if I step back, that's a better time for them to sell it for them.
That's right.
But it's a better time for me to sell it right now.
That's right.
And if I'm tweaking or adjusting in little ways like that to try to push that, then I'm not in a good place.
I think that's one of the things that's been really cool about having a partnership is that, like, if Cam's in fear or I'm in fear, when we come together, we're both like, that feels a little off.
Yeah.
Right? And so we're able to kind of make a judgment call on that and be like, okay, you're right. I was off. I was in fear.
Yeah.
I was trying to motivate this way or that way or whatever. I mean, we've had that happen on stuff where it's like we had that one deal where it was you were the seller's representative and I was the buyer's representative. And it was very much like, okay.
Well, you were one of the buyers.
One of the buyers.
So it was a multiple offer situation.
Yep.
Small house. You were represent one of the buyers because they had called off of a sign.
That's right.
But there were multiple offers on the table.
Yep.
And I was frankly scared to death because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't telling my seller to pick the offer that conveniently my partner was representing the buyer on. Right. And so I ended up, it was a great idea. We talked with some wise counsel, and the wise counsel said, okay, don't tell me who is representing any of the offers.
That's right.
And it had come down to 2 or 3. There were obviously 2 or 3 clear best offers. Yeah. And the seller had basically said, hey, you tell me which one you think, and I'm going to go with, I trust you.
Yeah.
Ooh. And so I brought the offers, and I said, okay, I'm not telling you which agent's representing who. Here are the offers. Which one would you recommend? This is a real estate veteran.
Yeah.
And they said, well, I'd go with offer B. I said, okay, all right, offer B. Well, it ended up being your client.
Yeah.
And but I presented it in a neutral way because I wanted to make sure I wasn't getting
your heart was in the right place, that you were protecting your client, and that it wasn't motivated in some weird I'm going to gain from this.
Right, and we're really against dual agency in general. That was designated, still designated, but because we're on the same team, it made it complicated.
Yeah.
So typically, you don't want to have one agent or necessarily even the same team representing the buyer and seller.
That's right.
And this was somebody that had specifically called off a sign, wanted to work with a team, and so a little bit of an exception there. But I was really glad that
it worked out the way it did.
I was really glad that it worked out because I wasn't going to be able to sleep at night if I knew, like, okay, great, I made a little bit more money because the team made more money, but I really pushed that lady. Offer C was actually the best offer, but I went with offer B. And it's just so easy to do.
Oh, it's totally easy. I mean, we see it all the time. I mean, in real estate as a whole, we see that a lot. You know, and it's I've seen it where you got an agent representing a buyer and they're representing the seller. I'm like, how in the world are you even giving value on any rate?
No, it's a lower level.
Guide them.
No, you're giving a lower level of customer service for sure. You're not able to truly advocate for your client. But it happens, and that's where we get to really challenge each other.
That's right.
Hey, you're off a little bit. Let's make this correction. What if we did this? That'd be not self-protection as much. That'd be a higher level of trusting the Lord.
Exactly.
So
no, I agree.
Hey, can you jump in real quick on just have we had any particular things that were really noteworthy? I know we had a buyer that called us up, just went under contract on something. Just to kind of give a quick what are you seeing in the market as it shifts as far as offers and deposits and everything?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got, in most cases, what I'm seeing is that if you have a listing, it's about 2 weeks, before you're getting an offer.
If it's a decent house, decent neighborhood,
and it's in that that kind of pocket that we're seeing of price point, the 100 to 400 range. More leaning towards probably 200 to 300 range. Those are moving pretty quickly. Still
going, but not in 14 minutes.
Yeah, they're not like 15 offers in 2 seconds. We're definitely seeing that shift, which is great. That's great for a buyer.
It's great for it's more realistic for seller.
Oh, totally. And I think that's an element. You said this a minute ago. You're talking about the buyer. Is this the right time to buy?
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to kind of point out in this, and this is a value add, but at the same point is, if I am a buyer, what's my reason for buying? Am I buying because I'm moving, because my job's changed, because
legitimate reason?
Yeah, I'm going through a divorce. I'm whatever. Any of those reasons that would make sense for you to actually move.
Right.
Now, if you're in a position where you could move next year, I would probably say move next year. In some elements, it has to make sense. This particular market is good if you are not marrying a rate and you want to purchase a home and you want to be able to, maybe refi. Like if you've got extra cash and you're like, hey, I just love this house and I want that house, great. Then make an offer on it. But if it's like, it's a nice house and I like it and it would work for us and you're not sold on it, there's no pressure to hit it right now. Like it's not necessarily the best moment.
No, I agree. If you have a legitimate reason, you need, for your unique situation, you want to buy now. But rates are historically in that normal range.
That's right.
But very, very high compared to what we've seen.
Yep.
And we feel like, I see articles both ways. I had a client 2 days ago send me 2 articles from the same website, back to back. They were written like 1 day apart. One of them said, rates will continue to go up into double digits. Same website. The next day, rates will drop next year. And I responded to her and I said, in other words, nobody has any clue. But we do see long term, rates are going to stabilize and fall. And so when you say don't marry the rate, what you mean is you may get into a higher interest rate right now, but you refinance into a lower interest rate as it drops.
That's right.
So is it a good time to buy if it's for your unique situation? But don't buy out of fear. Don't buy just to buy.
That's right. Or don't buy because you're like, the rates are going to continue to go up and they're going to be at 12%. That's not going to happen. If it does, it's not going to last long at all.
Right. Yeah. Could it happen? Yes. Will it stay long term? No, it won't. So I think that's a big thing. And we had a cash buyer that popped up. They were not even looking for a house, but they saw a house that happened to be very close to some family. And they said, hey, we want to look at this. But there was a lot less traffic on the house. We still went in over list price. I think we were, maybe 12,000 over list price on that one, because that was the only, it was the only house,
And there was multiples on that.
And there were multiples on it, but they wanted to make sure this particular neighborhood, it's only a few doors down from family, and we want to make sure that we get it. So they went in strong on it, maybe even stronger than they had to. But I told them, I said, if you want this house, you need to go in on it. So, that, 12K over, they put a decent amount of due diligence. I think it was maybe 50.
It was 8? Was it 8?
No, it might have been over 10. we talked anywhere from 8 to 15, and they went in more on the high side of that because the house was in great shape.
That's right.
It was a low risk. So we're still seeing some of that, but all of those are shifting and changing.
Yeah.
And just we see this shift in the market. We see stuff slowing down, but slowing down in a good way.
Yeah.
Don't think of it like a crash, because I don't see a crash, at least not in our area.
It's like a freight train out of control to, okay, now I'm driving on the track like I'm supposed to.
Well, that's a great way of putting it. That's a great way of putting it. So, one kind of in wrapping up here, I did want to say, we've got some plans for some future podcasts.
Yeah.
Could you just jump in real quick?
Sure,
with
sure.
We want to keep some mystery, but
what
do we have coming down the pipeline?
Yeah, so a couple things. We've talked with collaborations, and so we have some inspectors we've talked with. We've had some insurance lenders.
Yep.
There's a handful of others that are still in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Even some small businesses that we've got some connections with. We'd like to pull them on and let them share.
About getting them in on the podcast.
That's right. So they're going to come in. They're going to kind of share a little bit about themselves personally.
Yep.
Similar like what we've done in the first couple of podcasts. But also then share a little bit about their business, what they offer, what they have, even what they're seeing as far as in their marketplace, how it's changing, shifting, things like that.
It's not a sales pitch. The whole point would be education. And connection.
That's right.
And I'm really excited about it because I think
totally.
we are experts in not a lot of things. Like we connect with a client. We have enough knowledge in a lot of different areas to really be dangerous.
Yeah.
And for us to bring in true experts in these different categories to be able to say, dig a little deeper into this, help us understand the backstory of some of what's going on, and what does a brand new buyer need to know? What does somebody think about listing their house need to know in your specific field?
That's right.
So I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah. I mean, I have some thought processes out there, things that have popped through my mind. I'd love to get with some builders and different things like that. But we have actually got at least 3 guests that will join us. And we'll be in a new location, too, during those interviews. So it'll look a little different, which will be kind of cool. We'll mix it up. But yeah, I mean, we're trying to make this give you as much value as possible.
Sure.
That you actually see that it's not just about me and Cam, but it's about seeing a bigger picture and what you can actually pull from it. So,
it really is a team.
That's right.
And we want to connect you with the best out there, so that you can have the knowledge and the understanding and be taught to make informed decisions, instead of, just trust me.
Yeah,
that's not a good phrase to just follow along with.
Yep.
So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be super cool.
Definitely.
Here in the next several weeks coming up. So I think it pretty much wraps it up for today.
Yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching us. Like always, subscribe to our channel.
Yeah.
If you can leave some comments on different things and topics that you'd like to hear us talk on, or if you know of somebody you'd like us to interview, we can definitely reach out as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys in the next one.
Okay.